So it is the new year now. This is the new year. Hello, Kalea. Hello, baby. Her bro is sleeping. And it's January 5th, finally. We just went shopping with the babies and one of their brothers. But it's been a while since I actually took the time to do this. So here's what happened. Here's what happened last Sunday at church. It was really interesting. There was a gentleman who came to join the Sunday school, which we have in English, and I was really excited because the instructor is amazing. He has lots of knowledge and he prepares and he studies, and so we were all excited. And there's this gentleman that joins, and he's, you know, this really pretty tall guy, and speaks with British accent. And so I was like, probably the guy's from Europe, some from the UK or something. So he lived in there for a while, but he said that he's from Romania, and which is above my country. So Bulgaria, and then up north is where Romania is, and our border is literally a river. There's a big river that splits the two countries. And so he sat down and he started talking about his life. Like, he talked first to another lady in Sunday school, and then he started talking to me, and then he started talking to all of us about his life experience and in the world. Like, he's been in Germany and all over the place. He's married to a Japanese lady that they met somewhere in seminar or whatever in Korea, I don't know. And so they both studied knew German, so they went to Germany, lived there, and then came back here to Japan. And for the past 12 years he's been here. And so one thing he told me, just kind of like this is what I think about Japan, kind of like, he said, for all those years here as a father and as a husband, I've had the, you know, the weight on my shoulders to support my family, you know, to work, but like, if you're not a Japanese person, it's really hard in Japan. You cannot really find job easily here, and they don't really pay you the same amount as a Japanese citizen. So I didn't know that, but I started to realize that now, observing from other people as well. So he said that he basically told me, kind of like, just like that, like, he told me, I feel all those years I have been swimming against the current of the river. That's how it feels living here. And I was like, oh boy, don't I understand you, out of all people. Don't I understand? It's tiring, it's exhausting, it's emotionally and physically exhausting to try to swim against the current every day of your life for so many years. And if somebody listens, will be like, why don't you stop swimming against the current and start going with the current? Because you can't. It's not in your very fabric inside of you. You're not one of them, and you'll never be, and they'll never treat you like one of them. It's just, that's how it is. Like in Europe, if you're French in Germany, or if you're Swiss in Spain, if you're English in Germany, it doesn't really matter. Like, people are people. They kind of like Europeans. They blend. They're okay. I don't know. It's just people are people, and we treat each other nice. Here is like, thank you, sweetheart. Okay, you finished it? Okay. Wow, yeah, you did finish, huh? Yummy juice? Okay, sweetheart, thank you. And so he says, he goes to a company, like, he's an engineer. He goes to a company where they tell him, well, you want to come here where mommy is? Okay. We'll pay you 60% of the salary of a Japanese person, and you can work here for us. And so he goes, well, do you Do you still expect me, like everybody else, to stay extra hours after work? Because you know, in Japan, it's an unwritten rule. Like if you, sweet girl, if you are say working from 5 to 8, no, from 8 to 5, then you're supposed, from 8 in the morning till 5 p.m. you're supposed to stay for another 2-3 hours. That's like an unwritten thing, and you do it. And so he asked them, is that how it's going to be? And they're like, yeah, that's something we do here. So he's like, so wait, so you're going to pay me 60% of the real salary and you expect me to stay every day overtime? In Europe, where I come from, if you stay overtime, people pay you extra. If I stay another 2-3 hours, they'll pay me 125%, not 60%. Goodbye. And so, goodbye. And so, another company tells him, oh, we can never let you work here for us because you're not citizens, you're from another country. We'll never let you work for us because if you cannot know our designs, you cannot know our stuff that we're doing here, because you know, if a war happens, we're gonna start, you know, making weapons here, and it's just, you're not. So then and so for an engineer, people who work with softwares and you know, engineering things and stuff, it's really hard to find in his field a job here in this country. But you know, if somebody listens to that story, will be like, well, why are you here? Like, what are you doing here? Exactly, what are you doing here? Because you have 2 kids with a Japanese wife. It seems like all those people who marry Japanese citizen end up being into the country of the Japanese citizen and stay here because of the better opportunity of job, or better pay, or better everything. It looks better, except your mental health goes nuts. That's the only thing. And in the recent years, I live and I see on the social media platforms, people are like running away from places where they feel mentally ill, like stuck, confused, constantly swimming against the current. People can't handle it. And you know, in all truth, like if I have to compare his story and my story, like I am the lady in the family, and as the lady, you could stay home and watch your kids, right? You could raise your kids and somehow family can still make it, right? And a lady is a lady, but he's the guy of the family. He's the provider. That I don't know how he lived for so long here and what he did and how he is providing for his family. I have no idea, but it was just very interesting to hear the input, the perspective of another person from my country's area, like from Eastern Europe, how they think about this place. So, because sometimes when you live in complete isolation here, and you don't get to talk to other people, say from your country or from your like English speaking people, if you don't get to talk much to people at all, like with my situations, like I just talk to my kids during the holidays especially. Wow, or if I talk to somebody, it will be online, it will be my family members, and that's it. Yes, baby. Yeah, it's blue, huh? So you start, if you're like that in isolation mode, you start thinking, is something wrong with me? Is it the fault in me? Like you start questioning yourself, like what are your values, how you see the world? Like are you the only weirdo here that doesn't think like everybody else around? And then you start looking and hearing other people having similar or the same kind of opinion like you, and you're like, okay, it's not just me making up stories, it's not just me struggling here, it's not just me, there's so many others. And so anyways, I just wanted to get this out of my chest because it's a real story of a real person that I have met, and just as real as I am. And so it's good to know. It's just good to know.